What we're finding in New Hampshire, and we're talking with Ken Ivory of the American Land Council, who is also a part of the Utah House of Representatives.
Correct.
Not New Hampshire. See, there's old can learn some new tricks once in a while. We're finding that a lot of the people who normally should be defending public rights, the individual liberty and freedom, they're more government-oriented. It's for the common good, and they're actually embedded into a lot of the organizations that otherwise should be, by most people's thought. And a lot of us are shaking in our boots because we thought these guys are not doing what they are tasked to do. They swear an oath to the Constitution, and they say, "Oh, so what?" One sort of like the Democrat Socialists in America in Congress. They want a completely different ideology. We are in a cold civil war, and we're confronted with the enemy when we go to the processes of governmental organizations that are supposed to protect us. So what can the Land Council do for us there?
Well, what we do is we work at every jurisdiction that we have. So let me give you an example. Otero County, New Mexico. Otero County was forest land. They were the next area to go up in flames. Government Accountability Office documents, Forest Service documents say they're burning, they're loving the forest to death, they're managing them to burn. So Otero, their county commissioner, said, look, our industry, our watershed, our lives, our homes, our properties are going to get burned up if we allow you to keep mismanaging the forest in this manner. Unelected people mismanaging that. They said, we're going to go thin the forest. And they told the Forest Service, and the Forest Service said, if you come in, we're going to arrest you. And their county sheriff said, if you come in here to arrest our people, I'm the elected authority here. I will arrest you. And Congressman Pierce stepped up, their congressman from New Mexico, and said, we're going to have, they called it a tree party. And on a certain date, we're going to thin the trees because it's a matter of health, safety, and welfare of our people. And the Forest Service, right up until the Friday before the tree party, said, we're going to arrest you, we're going to oppose this. And they said, we're going forward. And Congressman Pierce said, I'm going to cut the first tree. Well, the Friday afternoon before their Saturday event, the Forest Service sheepishly came in and said, hey, we'll give you a permit to cut some of those trees.
Unasked for.
Correct. And so what happens is, if we act like a dependent, we'll be treated like a dependent. If we act like a governing partner and assert the jurisdiction that is exclusively ours at every level, we can expect to be treated like a governing partner. It's power dynamic that's been human nature throughout history.
I like that line. I really like that line. If you act like you're responsible and sovereign, we should be treated that way. It doesn't have to be. Certainly with the approaching government that we see that's one way we should act. Now, I'm going to switch back to the zoning ordinances that are being pushed by the federal government. It's almost like a multi-layered onion. Local select, but you've got to remember, most of our towns are a couple hundred to a couple thousand people. These are all volunteers. Nobody gets paid. I don't know what it is in the Utah State House, but our New Hampshire State House, you get paid $100 a year plus money.
Right.
This is not a full-time job.
We get barely more than that. So it's about 10 cents an hour.
Okay. But what can we do when you put these four levels of government? You got the feds, you have the state, you have counties, and the local organizations. As far as the state raises, called regional planning commissions. And that's where we're seeing the harm coming in from the feds, and the selectmen don't. They're being told, they're being lied to. And we're talking with Ken Ivory of the American Land Council. They're being lied to as to what they're getting themselves into. And there's been cases where towns have taken the money, gone through the zoning ordinances, then realized, oh crap, we're really stuck here. And then the federal government said, pull out now, or if you use that stuff you used our money for, we're going to sue you.
Right. Well, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is the money's going away. The bad news is the money's going away. We have a federal government that's overspending by $1 trillion a year, $16 trillion in debt. In fact, on a GAAP basis, generally accepted accounting principle basis, the annual overspend is $5 trillion a year with $2.3 trillion in revenue. So the good and bad news is that money is going away. We're going to have to stand on our own. Ronald Reagan said this is a wonderful time to be alive. We're lucky not to live in pale and timid times. We've been blessed with the opportunity to stand for something. There's no magic formula, Skip. We have to get involved. Our system is self-governance. We have to stand up and govern, or someone else will be happy to govern us if we can't govern ourselves. And that's what we're seeing. And so, on the state level and on the local level, it takes a half a dozen to 10 people that are willing to get involved, walk an hour a week for a candidate, pound signs, make phone calls for a candidate to get that representative that reflects their values. It really does start from the bottom up. And as Thomas Jefferson said, it must be the states themselves erecting barriers at the constitutional line that can't be surmounted. John Dickinson said, it'll be your own faults if the several states suffer the federal sovereignty to interfere in the things of their respective jurisdictions. It comes right back here. It's time to wake up and engage in this self-government, because it is a critical time. Our very American ideology is under attack, as you said, by 1,000 cuts. And we have to realize that these things on the surface are not the battles. It is this ideology, our right and control of property, our ability to bless other people's lives and be accountable for that, where we have our charity muscles and we have our self-reliance muscles, instead of thinking that we'll be bailed out by other people's money, because that era is gone.
Well, that free money is something that I fight all the time. Having been a local budget committee member on that town, I warned them for years, our own house in order, because at some point the state's going to run out of money because they're going to go to their budget, and our feds going to overspend their budget. We need to be self-sustaining. Listen.
Right. In fact, this coming session, I'm speaking next week in Chicago at a council of state legislators on legislation. I've already run some legislation on fiscal risk management, on preparing for federal funds to go away, but we're moving that even further to fiscal risk management and continuity of government planning, because we already, under federal law, the Budget Control Act, 9% of federal discretionary spending goes away January 1, 2013, 10% of military, and 30 to 50% of all state budgets come from a federal government that's fiscally suicidal.
Well, you'll be happy to hear that under Speaker Bill O'Brien, the New Hampshire House and the New Hampshire Senate, Peter Bragg, influenced by a whole raft of Libertarian, Tea Party, and Project 912 candidates that we dropped into the House. We cut our state budget by 18%, second only to the state of Texas, who also cut their budget this year. And getting ready for that. So steps are being taken. Now, I'm going to ask again, hopefully from a different standpoint. Do you have model legislation or model zoning ordinances or other potential at the very lowest levels, towns or counties or other things, that you might be able to help assist people? Let's put it this way. You can't see it, folks, because you're watching it. I got my clock sign up. Those who go to events in New Hampshire. Fire breathing, hard charging, gun toting, outspoken rabble rouse. Freedom Lover blog site. Here we go with the rabble rousing part.
Right.
There is a bunch of us that have scared these players half to death. So you know that the Tea Party's coming. What can you offer us as individuals, if you can, help to say, here's how you put sand into the cameras. Do you have model stuff that we could put into place and say, well, instead of what they're offering, here's what we need to offer our local populace. Here's what they are trying to do in the state. Here's what we want to give you. What we started off with in the beginning of this conversation, which was, what do I get to do with my own property? How do I get more economic freedom to do as I want with my property?
Yeah, now a lot of that is ground up, basic level Republican representative democracy government. What we kind of work on is more of a formula than model legislation. There are a variety of model legislation things that are coming out, but the formula is health, safety, welfare at the most local level. The Supreme Court in the Affordable Care Act clarified that, reaffirmed that the police power, the responsibility and the right to govern for health, safety, welfare is a power possessed by the states and not the federal government. And so the formula is, my health, safety, and welfare trumps your arbitrary, irrational federal policy, and my local officials, with the support and courage from their citizens, need to get them to simply act like it, as the Supreme Court said, in protecting health, safety, and welfare, notwithstanding arbitrary, irrational policy. But on the local level, in terms of who your local representatives are, it's a personal matter. You've got to put good people in there to start with, and what you're doing is outstanding.
Well, we're trying to do that, but we're also, we want to give people an alternative. But as an engineer, that's my real, just like you have a real day job. This is what I get to do when my wife lets me.
Right.
To which I'm eternally grateful. But as an engineer, we need some way to throw sand into the gear.
Right. And here's, so in the American Lands Council, at the most local level, we unite with one voice, act as one body to secure, defend local control of land access, land use, land ownership. That means access to forests where they're shutting down and doing the roadless rules. That means in the West they have this RS 2477. They're just shutting off thousands of roads by fiat, creating wilderness areas. Land use goes to, farmers can't have their children drive tractors or spray weeds anymore. You own the land, you can't use it. The Clean Water Acts, there's a drop of water on there, you own the land, you can't use it. And so acting with one voice as one body to secure that local control. And so that's what the American Lands Council is pushing for. Focused at the county level with support from other government organizations, public and private. AmericanLandsCouncil.org, a lot more information there.
And if people want to get a hold of your person, do you have an email that they can write to?
Yeah, Ken at AmericanLandsCouncil.org, and then also through the website, the AmericanLandsCouncil.org website. A lot more information there, but as we get rolling, the idea there, though, is to go on offense. We have to act. That's what Justice Roberts said in that Not Affordable Care Act decision. States are separate and independent sovereign states, and by extension, their subdivisions in the cities and the counties. Separate and independent sovereigns, sometimes they have to simply act together.
Well, we're going to have to do that. I have an idea that we may be asking for some additional. The topic is really wide. We are getting hammered. We're finding in New Hampshire that we are 5 years behind the curve. The statists have already left on this. It's like they had all this stuff lined up ready for me.
I'll make you one over.
Frontal assault in some cases. There's ways to do the flanking as well. So, Ken, I know that you've got a scoop for yet another interview. You're a hot topic here, a hot item here at Americans for Prosperity. Defending the American dream. Part of that American dream, folks, is to own your own property, to be able to do with it as you want. So, Ken, I want to say thank you very much for spending some time with GranicRock.com. And I look forward to getting some more information from you because we desperately need it, and I'm thankful that somebody out there looking for our individual rights and freedoms. That's what drives me.
Thanks, Skip. Look forward to visiting with you more.
Very good.
Croc TV.